Rap and Reason podcast with Dr. Jeremy C. McCool and Earl Hopkins.
But again, we got a great year to look ahead. What we don't have is a great start, bro. I'm gonna talk about the inauguration that took place for
Good
president-elect, now
transition over
president,
here.
for President Donald Trump for his second term. He's only the second president in U.S. history to have a like consecutive second term, if that makes sense. I think it
Yeah,
was Grover Cleveland being the first, but yeah, like during the inauguration, two hip hop artists actually performed. People, one of them, if not both, that you really like respect, Nelly and Snoop Dogg, bro. How did you feel? Because I don't know if you watched it, but how did you at least feel about them performing at the inauguration for such a polarizing political figure?
absolutely. So I'll start with this. As you know, and I've said this on the podcast before, I am probably very far on the side of being anti-celebrity worship. I'm
Mhm.
probably all the way on the other end of that is like we should not be idolizing entertainers. These are not heroes. These are people who make
Mhm.
good music. Like that is it. That is all. Now some of them rise beyond that and do other great work, but that is not what who you should look to for guidance or
Mhm.
who should be your role model just because they make good music. So let me start there.
Yeah.
With that being said, I wasn't like super emotionally moved by it because
Mhm.
um I look at it on a bigger scale of rappers get booked to perform places for whatever reason, whether that's financially
Mhm.
or in these cases, I'm gonna also add this. The co-founder of Death Row Records, who was one of Snoop Dogg's friends, was pardoned by Donald Trump a few years back. Um,
Mhm.
Nelly had a drug case that disappeared a couple months ago. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not tying the two.
Mhm.
I'm not
Mhm.
conflating these at all. I'm just putting this in the atmosphere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are just some other things that were going on in the same time period. Rather that was a reasoning for why they did it or not, I don't know. But um people make those decisions business wise for whatever reasons. Artists are businesses. I know we don't like to think of them that way, but Nelly is a business. Snoop Dogg is a business. For whatever reason, they felt like it was a good decision to make. Do I think it was a terrible look for them? Absolutely. Do I feel like it
Absolutely.
looked clownish? Absolutely.
Right.
Do I feel like it tarnished their brands or their legacies? Absolutely. Especially
Mhm.
depending on how left things get. Um, so I will say that. So I'm not gonna be oblivious to the fact that like on a branding standpoint, I think that it made them look crazy. And I think that
Yeah.
and I think, man, we have to get to a point, and it's funny, me and my mom were talking about this. It just either make the decision when you make the decision you make to do something like that, either do one or two things. Either shut up or be honest. That's how I feel.
Mhm.
When I
Mhm.
hear Nelly talking and giving this long explanation that don't really make sense, it's like, bro, just say, "Hey man, I needed a bag. Hey man, I owed a favor. Hey man, he did whatever." Or don't say nothing, just do it and move on with your career.
Yeah.
But when you start, and that's what Snoop did. I haven't seen Snoop Dogg say anything about it. It
He
seemed like
hadn't
he
touched
just
it
did
at
it,
all.
and this I did
Yeah.
it, and it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's a better method than like trying to tie other stuff. Well, the military, I got military in my family. That don't have nothing to do with you performing at inauguration, bro.
At
Like
all, bro.
nothing to do with performing at inauguration. So like I think make the decision you make, stand on it, and if you made that decision for whatever reason, whether like I said, whether it was financially, whether it was
Mhm.
you needed a favor or some grace, I don't know. Um, make the decision you made. But like I said, I don't place these people on too big of a pedestal. What did you think?
Yo, and that's where I'm at with it. It's just like this shouldn't even be surprising anymore, bro, because we saw how it turned out like Trump's first term, where we're seeing people like his first presidential campaign, where you saw like, and these aren't the most like we don't look at these artists as like of a certain intellectual level, I'm gonna just say it. Like a Kodak was following his tracks, like supporting him. You had like little pumps of the world, like eventually Kanye West, like you know what I'm saying? Like and all these people kind of like showing favor or you know what I mean, like meeting with him, linking with him, being seen with him at even at his rallies and things like that. Like this shouldn't be a shocker, bro. And the reality is, you're right. Like a lot of celebrities, bro. very self-serving people. They only want to do what's right for them. They don't really necessarily always care about um who they influence, how it's influencing the masses and everything else. They just kind of, and to keep it simply, bro, like sometimes it's about a bag, or sometimes it's about a partner, or sometimes it's about a favor. And I'd rather someone just, like you said, bro, just not say nothing at all, or just be honest. Like be short, concise, and honest. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what these reasons are. You make some good points, bro. Like that sounds like it was some favors owed along with the bag. Like that's possibly what happened. We'll probably never know. But what I do know is like someone like a Snoop, someone like a Nelly didn't need this. I can tell you some
No.
like I'm not in their pockets obviously, but Snoop doesn't look like he's missing anything financially. Like this man was at the Olympics, he was doing this, he's seen everywhere as a show with Martha Stewart. Like he's good. Nelly is with his lady Ashanti, who was my you know what I mean, childhood crush, whatever. He's good. He's in good hands in some form or fashion, bro. So they don't need this at
Facts.
all. This looks silly, bro. Like they look goofy, bro. Like I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
it honest because it's not about celebrity this, celebrity that. At ultimately, bro, like people within the Black American community, like respect y'all. Like they show favor towards y'all. So for you to make a move with someone who's perceived to not really service that community, it looks goofy, bro. Straight up.
So the only thing I push back on is when you say that entertainers or celebrities are self-serving. My pushback on that is I think humans are self-serving. I think we just don't see the moves that other people make. How many people are
Mm,
working for racist companies right now that they won't leave for money? I mean, how many people are still shopping at all these
mm,
companies that have done racist things and still spending their money with companies that you know don't support you? Walmart announced that they were getting rid of DEI initiatives. How many people are still shopping at Walmart? I mean,
mm,
so people aren't making sacrifices in their lives, but they expect celebrities to make sacrifices in theirs. I think it's because people view them as rich. So they feel like you should have a
mm,
higher standard of how you should behave. But I
mm,
just think we all need to make sure that we're moving accordingly as well, and
mm,
not having expectations for them when if we working with racist companies or maneuvering in those different waters for financial gain. So that's I think that's a human thing. I think they're just doing it at a bigger level that's magnified, so we judge them more harshly because they're public figures, which
mm,
is fair. I mean, they're public figures. That's your job. Your job is to be a public figure. But
mm.
I think most people are very self-serving,
Yeah, but
unfortunately.
there's moments where, again, this is my own expectation as someone again who's not rich, right? Like, with hopes to one day have a certain level of power, or
Mhm.
whether that's economic or influence or whatever, and actually use it for good, right?
Yeah.
Like, I would expect others to really have the same mindset. Unfortunately, like it's moments like these where you can see that that's clearly not a widespread mindset or thing, bro,
But
and
I
it's
can't.
disappointing for me. It's
Yeah,
disappointing.
but the thing is, I can't say like I don't know as much about what Nelly's done, but Snoop Dogg
Hmm.
has been doing philanthropy for his almost his whole career. He has a whole
Hmm.
football league in if I'm not mistaken, Long Beach, for black kids that's been going on for
Hmm.
decades. So I don't know if I can say that he all of a sudden because he decided to DJ at inauguration that he's not for the black community because of that one decision, but. I do think it looks made him look goofy at the
I'm
same
not saying they have never done anything good. I'm just saying this decision was not good. That's all I'm saying. Like
time.
this decision was crazy to me.
it,
Like
it's a wild, it's a
like you
wild,
get
it's wild.
you
It's
got to
wild.
think outside of yourself, bro. Like it's just you have too big a voice, too big an influence. Like when Kanye was having his spouts, he's been relatively laying low as of
Mhm.
recent. I think he has an album coming out either this year or maybe even next or whatever. But he's lying low. I'm sure a moment will pop up right before
Oh, he
album
gonna do
time. I'm
something.
sure he's gonna do something. It's just like the
He
stock
about
market,
due
certain
actually. He about due.
trends.
You know, Kanye got a certain timeline.
A
He
Kanye
about due to do
bomb
something
will
crazy. It's been
a
too.
Kanye bomb will go off within some months, bro. I guarantee you. But like there's certain things you have too big a voice. I forget what's his name. Van Lathan said that to Kanye when Kanye was wilding at TMZ when Van Lathan was still there, and he was like, slavery was a choice. Bro, even if you felt that way, this is very different. I'm deviating a little bit, but you
Yeah,
have too big a voice to like make certain statements, do certain things. And I think like this is a case where they should have really considered what this means potentially with the things that President Trump could enact in the future. We're going to look back and be like, you look crazy. Also, it doesn't help that a video of Snoop Dogg surfaced where he said, literally, I think it was Trump's first presidency, and he was like, yo, better not be no hip hop artists or black musicians performing for this dude, or you look like crazy. He did the exact same thing 8 years
Mhm.
later, bro. You can't make this
That
up,
was
dog.
that was before that pardon came through.
Man,
that was
telling you.
that was before that pardon came through.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I think it's a I think it was a terrible look, and especially with some of the things that were done and said
Yeah.
um, during the inauguration. I think that being attached to that, I think definitely looked crazy. And mind you, I'm
Mhm.
somebody, to be fair, I'm just as critical at some of the theatrics on the Democratic side when they roll these rappers out and had them doing crazy
For
stuff.
sure.
So I'm an equal
For
opportunist.
sure.
I don't like it when none of them do it, to be honest with you.
Nah.
But
No.
I think that in this specific moment that we're in now, I think that yeah, I think it could be very brand tarnishing for both of them. Like, is anybody gonna stop listening to country grammar or drop it like it's hot? No, but
No.
I think that it's definitely it's changed how people view them for sure.